Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel StartupLanes.com. I am More Tanvi, and as you know, these are the series of interviews which we are conducting with the CEOs and founders of some excellent startups. For today's interview, we have Mr. Badrinath Kidambi, a principal consultant from Planytics Solution Private Limited, who is currently the founder of Planytics 2, the India's first supply chain planning tech startup, and also heading consultant and training practice as director of Winspire. So let's know more about the company and their services through Badrinath himself. Good afternoon, sir. I am More Tanvi from StartupLanes, and we are very grateful to have you on the board for this interview.
Thank you.
Sir, I would request you to introduce yourself to our viewers, please.
So I'm Badrinath. I'm the founder of Planytics. We are a supply chain analytics software for enterprises, manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, where we use advanced machine learning algorithms to transform the planning process of organizations, their execution, inventory optimization, the alignment, and more importantly, we try and connect the dots across the different nodes in the supply chain of organizations. And that helps us identify blind spots and enhance the flow of both the materials and information.
Okay. So my very first question to you is that how did you come up with this idea of startup?
So I was working in France, and this idea came up. It's been with me for about a couple of years, but so looking at the technology that companies like Airbus in France uses, and some of the major companies across the world use, we were looking at seeing why can't Indian companies also compete at the global levels. Of course, there are international Indian companies that compete across various supply chains, but the average Indian company we felt was lacking, and we felt one of the biggest things that they were lacking was the technology. And we wanted to change that, and that was the roots of the idea of why we wanted to start something, and then came birth of Planytics.
Okay. So what are the difficult things that you faced in the initial stage of the journey?
We are in the initial stage.
Yeah.
So we are facing challenges, just like every startup, I'm sure. As they go through their journey, there'll be challenges, some of them expected, most of them unexpected. But we've been fortunate in the sense we've got tremendous traction. So we've just been like a year and a half old, and this last year and a half we've been primarily focused on building our product. It's just me and my co-founder, so it's just been the both of us building the product, and for that we've come a long way, and we are able to also see a lot of traction in the market. So the challenge is putting a product out there, which we're almost there now. And I guess as we keep evolving, we'll get to face more and more challenges. But building an enterprise software is not easy. But we've managed to do it, I think. So yeah.
Okay. So what is the gap that you identified in your market?
So the biggest gap that we felt was the formal planning systems that companies use. We felt that they were fundamentally broken, and the reason being is the logic that they use is almost 70 years old, and we felt that to manage the new pressures of today with short product cycles, with more complex supply chains, more global supply chains, high expectations from customers, more competition. So we felt that the biggest change that needs to take place is on the planning, and then that translates into better execution. So we felt that the companies that were using software for planning, they were using very old logic. So we wanted to change that. So that was a big gap. And we also felt that between the different nodes of the supply chain, the technology adoption was very siloed. It was not extended across. Even if there was an extension, it is usually a one-way information flow. And we wanted to change that. So how we can have a continuously connected supply chain with real-time information flow that is secure, and that is going to enable flow and completely eliminate the blind spots. So this was the gap that we saw in organizations that we are here to fulfill.
Okay. Sir, I would like you to explain your business model in detail.
So we have a pretty simple business model right now. It is going to be based on user license. So anytime we onboard a customer, it is going to be based on user license fee, and there is no setup. So we go ahead and manage the setup. We support. So ours is a SaaS software. So it is an on-demand software. So we take care of setup. We take care of training. We go ahead and manage any support for future post go live. The only thing that we go ahead and charge outside of user license fee is the integration wherever it is required between systems. So ours is a pretty user-based business model.
Sir, as you mentioned that recently you have started the startup, so I would like to know that did your friends or family help you while funding?
No, we are bootstrapped. Obviously, I believe prerequisite to have a startup, especially if you're married and you have a family, is to have the support of your family and friends. And if you're not able to convince your own family and friends, right? So how are you going to go out and convince other people to believe in your product and perhaps procure it? So we were lucky enough, both my partner and I should say, we were lucky enough to get the support of our family. So we are a bootstrap company now, but we will probably go out to the market and raise funds. So we are in the process of doing our POCs. So as soon as the POCs get converted into paid accounts, we are going to be looking at raising funds from the market.
Okay. So, sir, have you ever connected or joined with investors? And if yes, then how did you approach them?
We have not approached any investors as of now. Investors have approached us actually, but we are still early to go ahead and raise investment. Everything needs to have the right timing, and we felt that let's go ahead and get a better product market fit, better customer testimonials. Let it be very clear the value that we are driving for the organizations, and at that point in time, we will probably need to scale up rapidly, both in terms of product, in terms of team, infrastructure. So at that time, we would want to be looking at a strategic investor, because we're not only looking at raising funds. We want a strategic investor who's a partner with us and who's in for the journey with us. Who's able to open doors, who's got the connects, especially since Planytics is a global product, and we believe it's a world-class product for manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers. So that's our expectation, but we're still early. Go ahead and get funding.
Okay, sir. As you know that we are going through an unexpected pandemic, so I want to know that what are the factors that you see impacting your business in the coming years?
In fact, I would say if there is a silver lining to this pandemic, has been how companies have really thought through what their digital landscape is going to be and how they want to move it all on the cloud, and also to have a strong business case as to why they need something in supply chain. This COVID has really disrupted supply chains. The lockdown, unlockdown across the nations, different continents, all that has created several disruptions in supply chain. And we are, in fact, a supply chain planning software. So it makes a good case for us to say that it is in these times of uncertainty that you would use Planytics to create more robust plans. So we really believe that we have a stronger case because of COVID. That companies should be seriously looking at their technology landscape, and more importantly, their technology as a leverage or a competitive advantage for them. Yes.
Okay. Sir, are you planning to hire fresh talents in your business?
Yes. In fact, we've just got two computer science students from IIT Kharagpur who are doing their internship out here, and that might probably transform into a pre-placement offer for them, because we're quite impressed with what they bring to the table. So certainly, we believe that any company, if it wants to become a great company, it is the people who are working there to make it great. So we are serious about trying to expand the team, and our focus right now is to go ahead and give our tech team more support. So we're going to grow. That's going to be on the tech side first, and then the other departments later.
Okay. So what are the traits you look in for the new talents that you hire?
The traits you look in, how motivated they are, what kind of and what that motivation has translated into over the course of their academic or professional or careers, and also people who are excited with bleeding edge kind of technology, because that is our architecture. People who are not afraid to take risks, because in a startup, and also in a startup, it is pretty much a roller coaster, right? You can have a range of emotions all within the hour. So we need someone who is excited for it, and it's such a fast-paced environment. So you need to come in with a lot of energy to go ahead and manage this. So these are some of the things. Of course, their critical thinking, their problem-solving ability, their people skills, their communication skills, all those nuts and bolts that pretty much everyone looks in for people. But outside of that, what else do they go ahead and bring to the table? And that's what we're really curious about. We want people who come and work with us to be put in situations that they're going to excel, and those situations are usually challenging. So how do they react under pressure, under challenges, and so on and so forth? So those are things that we would be keen to notice. And of course, we have programs here that we're designing that is going to develop that as well. So we're not just going to throw you to the sharks. So you're going to be in a position to develop and fine-tune and hone your skills.
Okay. Sir, I would like to know that according to you, what are the personality traits of a good leader?
See, I read this title somewhere that leadership is not a position, it is actually action. Okay. So a good leader should have extreme ownership, if you ask me. Whether I've been given the title of leader or not, I need to own whatever it is that I am doing. And extreme ownership basically means you don't get bogged down, you have a never say die attitude, and you keep pushing forward. And I believe that is most important. And you lead by example. You don't you treat others as you would expect to be treated. So these are some of the things that I would look for in a good leader.
Okay. Sir, according to you, what is the good part and what is the bad part of being a CEO?
The good part, there are a lot of good parts about being a CEO. Simply because we are an enterprise software, you get to meet very interesting people, especially when you're pitching for your solution. And also when you're looking at adding to the team, so you get to meet some really interesting people. Now the worst part, I wouldn't say a worst part. It's like having a baby. No parent would say that, I wish I never had a baby. But everything is always not a joyride, no doubt about it. So there are challenges in terms of managing people, managing expectations. Sometimes you realize that so many things could be lost in translation, and just the highs and the lows, your expectations versus what could happen. So definitely there are challenges. But I wouldn't say anything is worse to be a CEO. I'd say good parts and challenging parts.
Yeah, okay. Sir, my next question to you is that describe a time you had to make a tough decision, for example, like budget cuts or organizational restructuring, etc.
So we haven't come to that part as yet. It's been tough for us to tell prospects, hang on, because when we started putting our prototype, we went ahead and started doing demos to some of the potential customers that we want to be working with. And to our surprise, every single prospect that we went and demoed our product to, they were all like, okay, when can we start using it? So what we realized was more tough than anticipated was to tell them, hang on, we didn't expect all of you to say yes. So you just, and we're not ready to, we don't have the capacity yet to service all of you. Just hang in there and, excuse me, and then we'll get back to you within a couple of months, or at the most the next quarter. So that has been tough to do, simply because you can see the disappointment in their faces. Be like, oh, I thought we'll be putting the software now. So why did you demo it? We said, yeah, because we wanted to get your feedback, and the feedback has been excellent. So now we are in a good problem, but a problem nonetheless that we need to solve.
Yeah. So what did you do to tackle this problem, and what is the result now?
It's simple for us. We are right now having 2 POCs, one with a manufacturer of commercial of a manufacturer of brakes for commercial vehicles in the automotive supply chain. That's an American company. So they have their plant in Nashik, and we are also having a POC with the biggest hospital chain in the country. So as far as the others are concerned, and we've got a fair amount of interest, we've just told them, hang on, give us another quarter before we come back to you, because these will be the POCs that we'll be doing, and then we'd be straight up selling the software. So just managing the expectations and making sure that they're still interested when we go back to them.
Yeah. So my next question is to you is that, are you looking for any vendors to help you simplify any part of your business?
We are looking at certain system integrators to have a long-term strategic partnership, especially in the areas of integration, maybe some cross-selling and upselling to have a better market reach. So yes, there is some talk that is happening. Let's see how that proceeds.
Okay. So my last question to you is that, what are your recent and long-term plans for your business?
So I'll start with the long-term plans first. Our vision for the organization, for Planytics, is to be the software that connects the entire supply chain for organizations, just totally lights it up, illuminates it, so that the supply chain, overall supply chain profitability can be enhanced. So that is basically where we want to go. And in terms of the recent plans, we've got a fair amount of interest in automotive as well as in healthcare supply chains. So we want to go dive deeper into these verticals as we want to become a market leader. So yes, so that's the more recent plan for us.
So lastly, I want you to ask that if you want to say anything to your viewers or our viewers, it would be great.
I'd say, hey, startup is a great ride. So if you have an idea, go ahead and check the validity of the idea. And if you believe in it, go for it. So that's what I would like to tell your viewers, and all the best. Stay safe during these crazy times.
Yeah.